In 1983, 40 years ago, the Irish-bred, British-trained thoroughbred racehorse Shergar was kidnapped and taken from its owner. Now, they started some negotiations. A £2 million ransom was demanded. The ransom was never paid. The negotiations stopped. No arrests were ever made, and Shergar's body was never found. There is a race now, the Shergar's Cup. There have been TV documentaries and a television play, and I've heard a song and a lot about Shergar and how the horse disappeared and was never seen again. And that just leads me to today's discussion about abductions. Want to say hello to Jay. Thank you for saying good morning. You're the first today, Jay. You were beat yesterday, but you're first again today. Drinking from one of my daughter's Harry Potter cups. It seemed fitting because Shergar, the horse, was trained by British. And so, unfortunately, it's not just horses that are kidnapped and taken and held for ransom. People are taken. And more often than not, it's not for ransom, it's for some other purpose. Human trafficking is rampant, not just in foreign countries, but in the United States as well. Human trafficking is going on all over the place. And it is why it is so important that we use our awareness, our common sense, our education about what to look for these people that are abducting people and trafficking people, so we can prevent it. Because once you are taken, once you are in that system, it is so difficult to get you back alive. You know, unless you have Liam Neeson as a dad that can go halfway across the world and rescue you when you're taken, things usually don't turn out that well. And that is why it is so important to understand what the warning signs are. And I'm going to talk about those more in a different broadcast. Today is going to be short because I have a busy day and I'm doing some active shooter training later. But anybody that tries to get you to go with them, don't go when they're strangers. You know, and on the street abductions, or, you know, whether they're trying to coax you into the vehicle to come with them, or if they grab you, you need to do everything you can to fight back immediately and not be taken and go with them. Because once you're gone, it is so much more difficult to get you back. And I'd rather you be scratched and beat up a little bit because you fought immediately and made a scene and got loose and got back to safety than to be taken where law enforcement, if they do find you, it may be finding your body at the secondary crime scene. Now, for some people, for the abductions, you know, they're going after people that are vulnerable. I'm not a likely candidate to be abducted. My daughter more so because she's young and female. If you are from a different ethnicity, here in Montana, we have Native American girls especially, going missing. Up in Alaska, they have the Native girls going missing way more than others. If you are an immigrant, especially if you're an illegal and they can hold that over your head, the fear of being reported, you know, that's how some of this human trafficking gets going, because they're taking a vulnerable person and then they're exploiting that vulnerability and putting them into either sex or low wage type of jobs and menial positions and traffic them in that way. So you must keep yourself from getting in the system. Sadly, some people are in the system because they're runaways or they're addicted on drugs. Again, vulnerable people. So we need to avoid drugs. I mean, that's just a path down so many bad things. But then if you have a home situation that is not good, instead of running away, we need to get the appropriate help so you don't become a statistic. I'm going to say hello to Robin. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you saying hi. For the street abduction, it's very easy. Somebody comes up and you should have been paying attention, so you notice them coming up. You set your boundaries and you don't go with them. If they try to grab you, you fight immediately. You know, I said this the other day when we were talking about walking down the street. Somebody pulls up and points a gun at you and says, "Get in the car." You immediately run. You don't get in the car just because they pointed a gun at you. You have a better chance at survival if you immediately sprint and get to safety than you do if you get in that vehicle with the person with the firearm. So your best choice is to always escape to safety. If they actually grab you, you fight with everything you have until you can get to safety. And that's why it's good to have something that you can defend yourself with. Whether that's Reflex Protect spray, whether it's a pen, whether it's keys, whether it's some other device, whether it's a firearm, if you have been trained and are legally carrying a firearm for that purpose. You know, the firearm takes an extra amount of training and a much more responsibility to be a responsible firearm owner, but they are there. And if you take the responsibility and get the training, that's an option as well. Without that, you have things like Reflex Protect, pens, keys, other handheld objects that can be used as weapons to help keep yourself safe. You know, it's a way to defend yourself if grabbed and create enough pain that you can then escape to safety. When you do that, try to remember everything you can about the person that tried to abduct you or the person that wanted you to get in the vehicle, and report that to law enforcement to give them something that maybe they can stop these people from taking someone else. It is a problem around the world. If you're not aware of it, just do some researching. You know, I've been to conferences on, you know, the human trafficking, and it is terrible. And it's going on right here in our own backyards. I mean, I'm here in Missoula, Montana. You think, oh, it's a pretty safe place. There's human trafficking that goes on right here. You know, if you're in Missoula, get a hold of Guy Baker at the Missoula Police Department. He's probably one of the foremost experts in this area, if not the country, because I know he travels around and speaks in DC and different places. The guy has a wealth of information and has stories that you just would not believe. It's going on. Dixon says, "Good morning. I missed your mug today." I had the Harry Potter mug because I talked about Shergar, the Irish-bred, British-trained racehorse that was stolen and kidnapped back in 1983, 40 years ago. That was the lead in to talking about abductions and human trafficking and why we must do everything we can to not be taken, to not be abducted, to not go with anybody that wants to take us. Even at gunpoint, run from that gun. It's a better survival than going with them and being found later. That's what I wanted to talk about today. It's a short one. I'm going to sign off. And if you don't know about human trafficking, do some Googling, do some research, and see how terrible it actually is and how prevalent it actually is all over the world. And we can take steps to try to prevent ourselves becoming in the system. And if you're in a place where you can help others from being sucked into that system, please do so, because there are a lot of people that need help, and we need to stop this terrible thing that's going on. I'm going to get off here. I got to do some things and then do some active shooter training today. So I'll probably talk a little bit about some active shooter strategies tomorrow, since this afternoon I'll be teaching that to a live course. So until then, take care. Stay safe.